10 minutes, that's German sharpness. Last speech is Mr. Guido Ceccherelli, who has a chemical background and is partner and vice president of EcoSpray. And he will talk about the scrubbers technology that he provides. Please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Having only 10 minutes and not want to bother you with too many information about scrubbing. Many of you already know about that. Somebody of you maybe don't know a lot, and they will can have some information about that. I will not enter in many details in comparison if the scrubbing technology is better or not of other technologies. For sure today, scrubbing technologies is the one that is already available, easy available, not so expensive, although Dario thinks that it's very expensive, and especially is efficient, has already given proof to be efficient, although some of the measurement, because of the IMO regulation, are not totally clear to everybody. A lot of words to say only one point. Not entering very in depth in the IMO regulation. Everybody knows that from January 1st next year, the maximum sulfur content of the oil can be 0.1%. And at this point, because of the SOx emission must be within a limit given by the ratio of SO2, CO2 below 4.3. The SO2 can be removed through a wet technology, scrubbing technology. There are two technologies, open loop and closed loop. Open loop work mainly only using seawater, and closed loop use caustic soda or other reagent together with fresh water. Of course, there can be a combination of the two that is called hybrid system that can work in two ways, and we will see a little bit later. Of course, in the open loop, SO2 reacts with the water, with the alkalinity of the water, forming sulfate. Sulfate is a natural element that is already present in the water, and theoretically do not represent the sulfate itself a pollutant to the water. Of course, the IMO limit do not take into consideration only the sulfate, but take into consideration what? The turbidity of the water, the PAH, the content of polyaromatic hydrocarbons, and the acidity, and of course, some of the oily stuff that can be still present. Seems to be rather complicated. This is a traditional open loop system, the engine. We install in the open loop as patented technology and proprietary technology of EcoSpray, a filter. This is a catalytic filter that works, to be very simple, like the one installed on the trucks. These entrap the particles, the soot, and burn most of the uncombusted hydrocarbon. Afterwards, after the economizer is installed the open loop scrubber using seawater, which is the main advantage compared to a classic open loop, is that the philosophy is to clean the gas before entering in the scrubber and having in the end a water which is totally or virtually without any contaminants, and we have only to adjust the pH. This combined diesel particle and diesel oxidation is a typical catalyst that has been developed for using especially in high sulfur oil. And this doesn't really create any SO3 oxidation of the SO2 that helps to avoid all the aerosol, the plume at the stack, which is even worse than having the emission because it's very visible. And the essential feature of this catalyst is that the combustion of, especially of the soot and of the hydrocarbon, is continuous and is continuously done in two ways. One is cleaning the catalyst with a pulse jet system, and the second one to a thermal regeneration using part of the hot coming from the engine. In this case, all the elemental carbon, sulfate, and ash are removed, and also the inert particulates are removed because are mechanically entrapped into the filter. The open loop scrubber, we call it high velocity because it's a very simple, at this point, scrubber. Does not require any chemicals at this point, only water. And the water is regulated at the pump according to what is needed. The quantity of the water is regulated by the emission control system installed at the funnel. One of the main features of this system is that this replaces the silencer. And in this case, the size of the scrubber is rather compact, is rather limited, and can be installed without having many heavy work to prepare in the funnel the space for the installation of the scrubber. As far as all the tests we have done together with some ship owners, with some shipyards, and also internally, both on the computer system and also on the field, show that the scrubber has the same silencing attenuation, noise attenuation, than the silencer. Not always this dual system, filter plus scrubber, can be installed. This cannot be installed, for example, with many of the two-strokes engines because the temperature of the exhaust gas is not high enough to help the regeneration of the filter. And also because closed loop is becoming one of the issues to be used in the port. Not all the ports allow today to discharge the water when ships are in the harbor. In this case, taking also in consideration the philosophy we said before, to clean the gas before treating it into the scrubber, we will develop a system that is a dual stage system in which the first stage is a typical wet filter which removes with fresh water most of the particles, part of the soot and of the hydrocarbon, as well as a great part of the heavy metals. In this case, when working in open loop, all the filtration is done in this first stage, then the gas exit goes into the typical open loop tower in which is treated with seawater. In case you are in port, we are in port, and we have to use this as a classical closed loop, we work only with the first stage, injecting fresh water plus a reactant. We prefer, because of many of the ship owners don't like to have soda on board, we used a solution of sodium carbonate, which is prepared time to time and injected in this first stage. The blowdown, in this case, of course, exists some blowdown, is either collected in a tank and then discharged as soon as possible in the next port, or treated on board with a water treatment system. What I said before, the main problem we encountered, EcoSpray had a lot of experience on onshore onshore basis system. And in that case, the scrubber has no problem because the larger it is, the better, because the velocity is very low and you don't have water carryover. which can be a big problem, much larger than the SOx reduction, especially on cruise ship or on RoPax ferries, where the passengers can have a very nice black shower on the last deck. In this case, removing the silencer and installing a double-stage demister, we were able, first of all, and you see here the possibility the silencer is removed and there is the empty space. On the other side, there is already a scrubber installed, and the installation of the scrubber can be done also in one piece, especially if it's in the top position of the funnel. Also in this case, the weight, which is one of the main concern of every naval architect and marine engineer, is very minimized because in total the system has the same weight of the silencer. Okay, I don't know if I was able to give you some ideas about the scrubbing. Anyway, anybody has a question, anybody has any kind of doubt or desire to deepen, I will be here next days available to answer to your question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ceccherelli. Since now I think we extended a bit with the time schedule, I suggest to take 10 minutes for a coffee break now.